Hello everybody out there in YouTube land. Welcome back to Diego Knows. I of course am Diego, and today we're going to continue to talk about The Notebook. That's right, The Notebook, that piece of shit movie from 2004 that we all know and love so well. I know I didn't fucking love it, but apparently most of you did, or else you wouldn't be watching this video, right? You've seen the movie. It's so romantic. Oh my God, the way he emasculates himself for the woman. Oh, I wish I had a man like that, like Noah, a man with no penis. Yeah, I know exactly. That's what I thought too. Okay, when I saw that piece of shit movie. But anyway, I know with the popularity, I understand its cultural significance. Okay, how a lot of people like that movie and they quote it all the time. They talk about it all the time. And honestly, since I started doing this review on this movie here, it's not as bad as I remember. I mean, it still sucks. It's still a piece of shit movie, but it's not as bad. I've seen worse movies than this. Okay, so I admit it. Okay, I've seen worse movies than this. All right, there are some stuff that works here. There's some good stuff in this movie, but there's not enough to affect my overall decision of the movie. Okay, the script is just shit. I don't know who the fuck wrote the script. I don't care. The person that wrote the book was Nicholas Sparks, and I read one of Nicholas Sparks' novels. I read was the one Gone Home or Coming Home or some shit like that. Some soldier movie where the guy's in the army and he falls in love with a girl. All right, Channing Tatum played him in the movie. Y'all know the one I'm talking about. I forgot the name of it. But anyway, I read that book. I actually read that book, and that book was a piece of shit. It was written by Nicholas Sparks, who is, despite his name, he's actually a woman. Okay, he does not understand how to write men. Okay, he does not understand what men go through, what men think. All men do, in his mind, in his opinion, all men do is just cry about a girl. That's all they fucking do, okay? And this movie's no different, okay? It's always about the girl, never about the guy. And the guys are more than willing to hurt themselves, mutilate themselves, commit suicide over a girl. They're more than willing to do that. Waste their life, which is even worse, I think, over a girl. Okay, Noah's like that. All of his characters are like that. All the male characters, supposedly male characters, are like that. Okay, and fuck that noise. That's not the kind of message you want to put out there. Okay, that men should fucking kill themselves over a girl. Okay, or men should ruin their lives over a girl. You know, that's a bullshit fucking narrative. Okay, that's not the kind of thing that you want to be raising your sons to believe. Okay, unfortunately, you know, the single moms that we have in America, which is a huge percentage of boys are being raised by single moms. This is the shit their mom wants them to be. Oh, grow up and be like Noah. Okay, get the fuck out of here. You want him to slice his wrists if a girl rejects him for the high school prom? I mean, come on, that's the kind of guy Noah is. Okay, he's more than willing to fucking commit suicide if a girl that he likes, that he looks at and obsesses over, rejects him. Okay, that's not the kind of boy you want to raise. You don't want to raise guys that think that way. Okay, or to spend years of his life building a house for a phantom girlfriend that he hasn't seen in 7 fucking years. That's not the kind of man you want to be raising. You don't want to raise boys to believe shit like that. Okay, that's where you get the fucking the weirdos out there. Okay, it's because they believe in shit like this. Okay, that's a bullshit narrative, and that's one of the reasons I hate this movie. Not the only reason, but there's a lot of fucking shit going on here. Okay, it's just not realistic. It's not believable. Okay, and the fact that women give it a pass because it's romantic, it's not fucking romantic. It's not fucking romantic. Okay, threatening to kill yourself over a girl is not romantic. There's nothing romantic about that. Okay, building a house for a girl that you're obsessed about, that you haven't seen in 7 years, not knowing if she'll ever come back in your life, you know, and building a room for her in your house, that's not romantic. Okay, that's obsessive compulsive. Okay, you need medication for shit like that. Okay, there's something wrong with you. Okay, that's not something you want to be like. That's not romantic. Okay, it's stupid. It's stupid and it's sad and, yes, dangerous. Because people that are willing to go through all that for bullshit are dangerous people. Yes, they are. To themselves and to others. All right. Now, when we left off last time, young Allie, played by Rachel McAdams, she, after her mom told her that she still gets horny for some fucking old redneck ditch digger in some quarry, she realizes that she's not going to marry her handsome, rich, fucking charming fucking fiance. Okay, she's not gonna marry him. So she's gonna marry the fucking poor boy that she fell in love with over summer vacation 7 years ago. Okay, she already fucked him. Okay, so she's already cheated on her fiance, and her fiance forgave her like that. Like, oh, no problem. It's okay. Just don't do it again. It's all right. I still love you. I still want to be with you. Yeah, get the fuck out of here. In real life, this would not have been a choice. There would have been no choice. This movie's trying to make it dramatic, making it think like, will she go with him or will she go with him? Oh, I don't know. I'm torn between two lovers. Yeah, that was a song in the 70s. But no, there are no two lovers to be torn between. There's only one. Okay, it's Noah. That's it. Because any normal man would never fucking take your whoring ass back. And why Noah would want to be with a woman, dump his girlfriend, who clearly loved him. Why would he want to be with a woman who is willing to cheat on her husband at the drop of a hat? What kind of woman is that, Noah? What kind of woman is that? Exactly. Yeah, that's not the kind of woman you want to marry. Because guess what? Exactly. Okay? So come on, don't give me this bullshit. There's nothing good here. There's nothing romantic about that. Okay? Because this movie focuses on Allie, and mostly Allie, but Noah a little bit too. Because they're the main characters, we have to sympathize with them. Okay, so when Noah has a girlfriend and he cheats on her, the girlfriend's okay with it. She even tells him that she's fucking, what'd she say? She's a magnificent or some shit like that. You know, she's a sensational. Yeah, that's the word. She's sensational. That girl you were fucking behind my back, you know, she's sensational. Oh, I'm so happy for you. Now maybe I know that maybe I can have that too. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here with that noise. See, that's what I'm talking about. This is not believable. This movie's not believable. All right. The script is bad. You got a bad script, you got bad everything. There's no fucking movie. Doesn't matter how well acted it is. Doesn't matter how pretty the scenery is or the music. None of that shit fucking matters if the script fucking sucks. Okay, and the script sucks here. All right. So anyway, so he's recounting their past. He's reading from the notebook. Okay, which is a story about how Allie and him met and fell in love, all that kind of shit. And he gets to the part where she decides to pick Noah instead of Lon, her fiance. So she brings her shit back to Noah's place while he's wrapped his blanket with her shit stains on it because she sat on it naked and he didn't wash it and he wrapped it around his fucking face and his shoulders and shit. And so anyway, so they get back together and they fucking kiss each other, smelling like her shit, which should tell you something right there. I think there's some fucking irony there. But anyway, so that's going on. And she decides, I guess she picks Noah to be with. Okay, and then fast forward to the future, and it's old Noah is sitting there, played by James Garner, talking to old Allie, played by Gina Rollins, the mother of the director of this movie, Nick Cassavetes. Okay, she was married to John Cassavetes, okay, who passed away a while back. Okay, and her son is Nick Cassavetes, and so her son cast her as the older version of Allie, okay, Gina Rollins, okay? So they're sitting across from each other, and he finishes the story, you know, that they lived happily ever after, and that's what happened. And then all of a sudden, Allie, she's an old lady, they're in a nursing home now, okay, because she has Alzheimer's disease. Not him, he's got a bad heart, but there's nothing wrong with his mind. Okay, that's why he's reading her the story, because of her Alzheimer's, she forgets who he is, she forgets her kids, she forgets her life. So he reads her the story, and whenever he reads her the story, she always comes back for a little while. She comes back and she remembers who she used to be. She remembers that this man sitting across from her is actually her husband, you know, and that she actually has kids with him, you know, and all that kind of stuff, okay? Well, she didn't remember him in the beginning of the movie, so he went by the name Duke for some stupid reason, but now that he just finished reading her the story by candlelight dinner, you know, now she's starting to remember. Now she remembers who she is, and she realizes now that the story that he's been reading to her all day is actually the story about how they met each other. Okay, and she's like, oh, it was us. It was us. He's like, yo, my sweetheart, oh, my love, oh, my baby, oh, my candy pants, oh, my sugar bridges, oh, my rosebud, oh, my lickety splitter, oh, my cock sandwich, oh, my, yeah, basically, yeah. So that goes on for a good fucking 16 hours, okay, and then they stop doing the crying and the, oh, Noah, all that kind of shit, all right, you know, and she's like, Noah, what happened to me? He's like, nothing, you just went away for a little while, that's all, but now you're back. And she's like, well, how much time do we have? He's like, I'm not sure, Allie, last time it was no more than 5 minutes. And she's like, okay, but look, I brought along a friend, an old friend, and he had a tape player on the table when they were having dinner. So he presses play on it, and we start hearing a song called "I'll Be Seeing You," Okay, now earlier in the movie, when they were young, when they first met each other in 1940, and she was 17 and he was like 23 or 24. We don't know for sure how old he was, but that's how old Ryan Gosling was when he filmed the movie. But of course, Rachel McAdams is like 25. But anyway, she's playing a 17-year-old because that was pointed out that she was 17. Okay, they're at the they met at the circus, at the carnival or something. But they went to the movies later on when they were young. And they were talking to each other, kind of getting to know each other, you know. And the streets were empty in downtown Seabrook, North Carolina. So they decided to start dancing in the middle of the street because there was no traffic. Okay, it was nighttime. There's nobody out there. You know, nobody to watch them do it. Okay, and he started humming the song called "I'll Be Seeing You," and it was sung by Billie Holiday. Okay, so we start hearing that in the soundtrack, and he's humming it, but the audience were actually listening to the song, sang by Billie Holiday. Okay, remember her? Remember Diana Ross played her in a fucking movie called Lady Sings the Blues with Billy D. Williams, which is a great fucking movie. Okay, anyway, so I know a little bit about Billie Holiday. That's not my favorite one. My favorite one actually from her is "You're My Thrill." Okay, that's actually my favorite Billie Holiday song. But in this one, she's singing "I'll Be Seeing You." Okay, so we hear that Billie Holiday singing that. This time he's playing it, and it's the same song again. It's "I'll Be Seeing You," but this time it's sang by Jimmy Durante. Okay, now for those of you who don't know, Jimmy Durante was this famous stand-up comedian, actor / singer. He was a big radio personality. He was known for his big fucking. He's a white guy. He was known for a big fucking nose. Okay, and he used to talk like this with a cigar in his hand. You know, he had that gravelly voice, which was very endearing to a lot of guys. It was mostly guys that listened to him. Like, he was like a man's man, but he was a funny fuck, you know, and weird looking. Look at some pictures of Jimmy Durante. Man, that fucking schnauzer nose of his, dude, it just took up the whole fucking room. But anyway, yeah, so he also sang some songs, but when he sang it, it sounded funny because of that voice of his. I'll be seeing you someday. I'll be seeing you. You know, like that. You know, like Popeye the Sailor Man. Like Popeye is singing this fucking song. Well, that's Jimmy Durante, okay? Like I said, he wasn't much of a singer. He was mostly a stand-up comedian. Very successful, very funny back in the 1940s. And he appeared on TV in the 1950s, and he passed away. Okay, for those of you who watch old cartoons like I did when I was a little kid, because we used to watch old cartoons, okay? If you remember the character of Woody Woodpecker, okay? In that cartoon, not the movie from like 10 years ago, but in the cartoon, there was a character called Buzz Buzzard who that was Woody Woodpecker's arch nemesis, and that character was based on Jimmy Durante. Okay, he had the big nose, he had the voice, the cigar, all that kind of shit. All right, but it's Jimmy Durante. So Jimmy Durante's singing "I'll Be Seeing You." Okay. Now, why they didn't just use the Billie Holiday song, I don't know. I think it would have been a better option because that's the actual song that he was humming was the Billie Holiday version when he sang, when they danced that the first time, okay, when they were young. But now they're dancing to the Jimmy Durante version, okay? So they slow dance together, which is kind of endearing. It's charming, you know, okay? And they did just like they did in the middle of the street, okay, some 40 fucking years ago, okay? And Allie's hugging him there, and she asks him about how the children are, you know? And he says, "Oh, they're fine, they're fine." In fact, they came by earlier today, and they did. They came to visit earlier today. They actually begged their dad to come home, to not stop living in the nursing home, you know, because, they miss him. They want him back home where he belongs. And he tells her, "Hey, listen, that woman, your mother's, that's my sweetheart. And her home, you know, my home is her. Wherever she is, that's where I am. Okay, this is my home now. As long as she's here, this is my home now, you know." So they couldn't convince their dad, Noah, to come back home. He's going to stay in the old folks' home. Okay, so like I said, they're dancing Mill Street, and she asks about her kids, and he tells her that they're fine. You know, two old people dancing. It's very endearing. It really is. And you know, some really good actors like Gina Rollins and James Garner, they can sell the scene. Okay, a lot of this bullshit dialogue, a lot of these fucking, and her blazing love cascaded into his heart. That shit sounds fucking stupid as fuck when Ryan Gosling is saying it. Okay, some fucking 20-something-year-old saying shit like this is ridiculous. But when an old man in his fucking 80s, like James Garner says it, then it's endearing. It's because he's eccentric, you know? It's endearing, okay? But if a young man says it, he's fucking scary and psycho. But when an old man says it, it's endearing. Oh, look how sweet it is. And that's the reason they gave him all the bullshit lines. I feel bad for James Garner. He had to read shit like, they go, "You want me to act this?" You know, his blazing heart sent a fire streak into his emotions. Like, well, who the fuck? Nobody writes like this. Nobody reads this kind of shit. But you know, but when an old man says it, it's all. You see what I mean? So that's why they gave him all the bullshit lines. You couldn't catch Ryan Gosling saying shit like that when young Noah was alive. All right, was there? Okay, so that's going on. They slow dance together. He tells her that the children are fine. They came by to visit earlier today. They were here all day. Little Noah and Devaney too. And so now we know the little boy that hugged her. Okay, she didn't know who it was, but she hugged him back anyway. She thought it was sweet. This little kid was hugging her. That was actually her grandson, Noah Jr. Ooh. So we find out that was actually her grandson. All right. So they're getting, and she says, "Oh, they're getting so big." He says that they're getting so big. Okay, the kids are growing. And Allie says, "Oh my, how fast the time goes." And the whole time they're doing this, they're dancing together. How fast the time goes. It flies right by. Kind of like a reference to the fucking ducks that she watched all the time. The ducks are always flying right by. And her life is just flowing right by. So we're alluding here, we're preluding that the movie's going to end in more ways than one. Okay, the story's going to end. Okay, the time goes by. How fast the time goes by. And he says, "Yes, it does, sweetheart. Yes, it does." They're dancing together. It says like, "Tell them I love them, and that I'm sorry." That she's sorry she didn't remember them. I know it says, "I'll tell them, sweetheart. I'll tell them." And now it says, "That story you were reading to me. Do you think I could be her tonight? Would that be all right? You know what we could do? We could get in a car and go for a ride." So she's thinking about the car trips, that she had with Noah, and he's like, "We could get out of here and go someplace. You want to?" In other words, leave the nursing home, like they did when they were young. Like get out of their lives, okay? Get out of her relationship with her parents and the demands that they have on her, for him to get out of his solitude, to get out of his loneliness, and his this little fucking bubble that he lives in, that no one's allowed to get in, She's talking about themselves. She's talking about themselves when they were young, which is kind of heartbreaking. I mean, I even get emotional just thinking about it, Yeah, that's what she's talking about here. And Noah says, like, "Not tonight, darling. I don't think so." And she's like, "Come on, why not? Wait a minute. Why'd you call me darling? I don't know you." She moves away from him. He's like, "What's going on here? Am I supposed to know you?" No. And he's like, and Noah's like, "Allie, sweetheart, I love you. Just stay with me. Don't leave me." Allie's like, "No." And she pushes him away. "Who are you?" And Noah's like, "I'm Noah. And you're Allie. Come on, baby." "What do you want? What are you doing here? Don't come near me. Help! Help!" And of course the nurses run in there, and since she's the one acting all crazy, Noah just like moves to the side and sits there, and he watches the nurses like restrain Allie, because Allie's getting all crazy now. Okay, and the doctor runs in there and he gives her a fucking injection, or probably some fucking some sedative, injects her with it. And it's really sad, and this is one of the reasons I think that fucking the best actors in this movie are James Garner and Gina Rollins, because they're pros. They've been acting by this point, they had been acting for like 60-something years, okay? And you can see James Garner really went into this role. He understood this character, okay? Because Noah has an emotional breakdown right there, watching his wife get sedated and then get restrained. He's got an emotional breakdown, and it's sad because James Garner really pulled it off. He's just like, takes off his glasses, because he lost her again, okay? This is what keeps happening to him. He has her and then he loses her. He has her and then he loses her. And the time that he has her is getting, every time he does get her back from reading the story, the time is getting shorter and shorter and shorter. And like the doctor said earlier in the movie, there's going to come a time where she's just never going to remember you. She's never going to remember him or her family or her life or the story of how they met each other. It's never going to happen. Like I said, like the doctor said, Alzheimer's, it's progressive. Okay, eventually she's not going to remember him ever. And he's starting to realize that. He doesn't want to believe that because he's fucking deluded. Okay, even when he was a young man, he never wanted to believe that she was gone. He never wanted to believe that he wasn't with her anymore. He never wanted to accept the fact that they broke up and that they didn't see each other again. He never wanted to accept it. And because she came back into his life, which technically she could have done that at any moment, he knew where she lived. and she knew where he lived. Okay, at any moment in the past 7 years that they were apart from each other, they could have seen each other. Okay, it didn't just have to be letters. They could have called each other. There was phones around back then. You know, they could have, either one of them could have driven to each other's house or something, or asked people about them. You know, she knew her dad. She knew Noah's dad. She had friends that lived in Seabrook. She could have called and asked about Noah, and they would have told her. You know, so this shit about them, you know, like he couldn't get her, he couldn't find her, and so he built this house hoping that's all bullshit. He could easily have found her. Okay, the movie doesn't go. The movie leaves that open. Like, what the fuck? It's a fucking phone call away. At any moment, they could have done that. You know, so yeah, so he's still believing in this phantom girlfriend. He doesn't want to let that go. You know, and now that she's disappearing, you know, in a psychological sense, not so much in a physical sense, you know, he still doesn't want to let that go. He still wants to hold on to this phantom, okay, that used to be his wife. You know, now in a weird way, it is endearing because, you know, he wants to be with her, but at the same time, it's very sadist for him, you know, or masochist, whatever you want to call it. He's hurting himself. He's constantly hurting himself over this woman. There's no way to live, you know, and sure enough, in this movie, it's not a way to live. So, you know, so he sees them restrain her and they take her away and he has an emotional breakdown. You know, James Garner sold it. He really should have gotten an Academy Award. He really did a great job right there. You know, like I said, the guy's a legend. He's been acting forever. Okay. So, Noah decides to look at some old pictures. Okay. After they took her away. He's just laying there in bed looking open. And his pictures from the Rockford Files, which is the TV show he did in the early 70s. That's where I first heard of him, the Rockford Files. I used to watch that with my uncle when I was a little boy. I just remember what I really loved about it was he was the hero. Joe Rockford was the hero, James Garner. He was the private eye going around there, you know, catching bad guys and shit. And I just remember watching it. And usually, whenever you see a TV show where the hero of the show, the main guy, when he's chasing a criminal and they get into a fight, the hero always wins the fight. Okay, but I remember watching this, and the hero got his ass kicked, and I was like, "What?" I remember being a little boy and going, "Oh, I've never seen that before." You know, when $6 Million Man fights a bad guy, he wins. When Michael Knight fights a bad guy, he wins. You know, when MacGyver fights a bad guy, he wins. You know, when Joe Rockford fights a bad guy, he gets his ass kicked. So I thought that was funny. All right. Yeah. So it's pictures from the Rockford Files. Okay, and they photoshopped it to add pictures of Gina Rowlands, you know, when she was young too, to make it look like they got married, they were together, all these pictures. And let's face it, okay, come on. James Garner and Gina Rowlands do not look anything like Ryan Gosling and Rachel McAdams. Okay, they don't look anything like them. Okay, you cannot sell me that this guy in the picture is the same guy I just saw with fucking smelling fucking alley shit stains with the blanket. No, it's not. It's not. Okay, Ryan Gosling does not look like James Garner, like a young James Garner. Okay, young James Garner had class. Okay, he actually combed his hair. Okay, he wore conservative. He didn't just wear fucking shirts hanging out. Okay, unbuttoned and shit. Okay, not tucked in. We didn't do that. He didn't have the big ass fucking graggly beard, the Brad Pitt fucking I need to take a shower look that fucking Noah has in this fucking movie. He didn't look like that. Okay, when he was that age. Okay, he looked very distinguished. Okay, same thing with Gina Rowlands. Gina Rowlands had class. Okay. And she didn't have the fucking big moles like right here and right here and right here that fucking Rachel McAdams has, okay? She has a smoother face, you know, whatever, you know. But anyway, so yeah, those pictures were obviously photoshopped, or they were doctored somehow. But he's looking at these old pictures, and we're still hearing that song, I'll Be Seeing You by Jimmy Durante, you know, while he's looking at these old pictures of himself from the Rockford Files, okay? You know, and he opens the notebook that he's been reading the whole time, you know, the notebook. He opens it up to the first page, okay, and in there, he reads the title of the book, and it says, on the first page, it says there, The Story of Our Lives by Allison Hamilton Calhoun. So now we know that the old lady, for sure, it's Allie, for sure. We didn't know it 100% until the scene where she remembers, okay, but now we know that it's Allie, okay? And it says there, to my love, Noah, read this to me and I'll come back to you. which is kind of sad. So guess what happened is when she got diagnosed with Alzheimer's, the early stages of Alzheimer's, she decided to write down the story. That's why it was written like someone was writing a romance novel instead of like, just someone's journal about how they met each other. She wrote it. Okay, she wrote it to remember, she wrote about their relation, how they met each other, how they fell in love, so that when she does start to lose her memory completely, he can read it to her, and that it'll make her remember who she is. Okay, that's why she did it. Okay, so she actually wrote that notebook. It wasn't him. Well, initially I thought it was him writing down his diary or something, but no, it wasn't. It was her. She wrote down how they met so that he could read it to her, so that she would come back to him. And that's what he's been doing. He did what she wanted him to do. He read her the thing so that she could remember who she was, and that's why he does it. Okay, so I thought that was endearing. Like I said, when young people do it, it's stupid, it's bullshit. But when old people do it, it's endearing. Old people that have the acting chops to pull it off, and Gina Rollins and James Garner most definitely do have the acting chops to pull it off. They're the best actors in this movie. Okay, so anyway, he's there. He goes to sleep. He turns off the light. We find out that he had a heart attack that night. So in the morning, they're rushing him into the emergency room. Okay. Allie wakes up, she stumbles into the hallway to see what all the hullabaloo's about, and she sees Noah getting carted off on a stretcher, okay, getting carried out of there. And of course, the nurses tell her to go back to her room, Like I said, I don't think she really remembers who Noah is, okay. So he's rushed into the intensive care unit, okay, the next morning, since he had a heart attack. Allie sees him, they pull her back to her room, and it's really sad what happens to her after that, okay. After they take Allie, who's obviously in her late 70s now, or 80s, They take her back to her room against her will. They kind of carry her there. They're holding her arms while they're walking her into a room that has like a fence on the windows. Those kind of rooms I'm talking about. Okay, like at the sanitarium. And they take her in there and they dope her up. Okay, they give her all. You can tell by she's just sitting there with all the other old ladies that are just doped up out of their mind. Just think One Who Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, like that. It's really sad. This old lady is just who's already losing her mind, and now she's doped up to the hill. I mean, my heart bleeds for, like I said, this is where I really got emotional, okay? It wasn't the other stuff, okay? Although some of it was pretty good, remembering young love and stuff. I remembered that. I was in a similar situation where I was in love with a girl when I was young, and then she came back into my life when I was, a man already, and then in middle age, she came back into my life, and we got to do it all over again, But still, it's it needs to go into a place, so I could relate to that. Okay, I could relate to the feeling, seeing your old love and rekindling that fire again many, many, many years later after the fact. I know what that's like, so I related to that. But seeing her, and the movie succeeds in that, but seeing her like this, old, and losing her mind, it's heartbreaking, and then they doped her up. She can't take care of herself. And they doped her up, it's sad. It's so fucking sad, So she's just sitting there all doped up on drugs, that they gave her, and she's just staring. She's staring. There's one point where she has her hands on the rail in front of the window, and she's just out there staring, just like with a glaze over her eyes, and she doesn't even know where the fuck she is. But she can tell because this movie's direct. Of course, the director's going to give his mom the best scenes in the movie. Okay, so she's just staring out there. It's very emotional. Like her mind is gone, but you can tell that she kind of remembers who she used to be, and she's sad that she ended up here. That her life brought her to this fucking this nursing home. This psychiatric wing. It's so sad. But anyway. So Noah, he sneaks out of the room later on. I guess he comes back from the main hospital, because he survived his heart attack. He sneaks out of the room and he's walking down the hallway, and because the nurse catches him, she says, "Where are you going?" Mr. Calhoun. He's like, "Oh, I'm just gonna take a walk." And she's like, "Okay." He was going to go see Allie. Okay, he knew Allie was in another room. Okay, nearby. Okay, and the nurse plays the whole plausible deniability card. She feels sorry for them. It's against the rules for him to sneak around in the middle of the night. But she says, "I'm going to go get a cup of coffee and I'll be back in half an hour." Okay? So I'm not going to be here for half an hour. All right? So then she walks away. Okay? And he understands what she means. Basically says, don't go visit her in that room right over there while I'm gone, because it's against the rules. He's like, "Oh. Okay, and then he sneaks on over there, okay, to go visit her, okay, and she's strapped to the the bed, okay, but he walks in there anyway, and he sees her there, And it's sad. It's pretty sad. But okay, but I'm going to stop my review right now here, and I'll be back very shortly. And I will continue my review of The Notebook from 2004. I thank you very much for watching this as long as you have, and I will see you soon on the next one. Bye.